It is NBA Finals week. We have finally made it after a long season. It's Boston. It's Dallas vying for the Larry O'Brien Trophy. Boys, Sunday night, how are we feeling today? We got Alex and Cheyenne in the house and maybe even a special guest coming up later. But how are we doing tonight?
We're doing really good, really good. Chill little Sunday, just really excited for the finals to start. Can't wait. Got my own little side bets going on with friends and
Mm,
family.
betting
Hopefully,
with the
man.
family on the NBA Finals. That's a little crazy. Pritch, how are we doing tonight?
Yeah, doing good. Just want to give a little shout out to Pride Month this month. You want to shout out to all of our supporters, all of our shout out.
What's so funny?
Bro,
What's so
no, I
funny?
was laughing, bro. I don't know. I just like
I
sincerely
didn't
like
know.
all five of our fans, bro. Thank you. Just want to give a quick shout out.
Pop it up. All right. It's time for the finals, boys. We've been looking forward to this matchup. At least I have, since we've been waiting on it. A lot of I don't want to say no basketball. We respect the WNBA, but it's been tough without NBA basketball. Let's just say that. But we're gonna get it again on Thursday, which will be great. And this is a series I'm really looking forward to. A lot of storylines in this one. You got Kyrie, right, going back to Boston. That should be fun. Sure, he'll give them the dirty.
Porzingus back to Dallas.
Porzingis back to Dallas. You got superstars, everything you could really ask for in the
Exactly.
finals. So this should be a fun one. But I thought, let's ease into it before we do a deep dive. Let's do some NBA Finals superlatives here. These are just players in the series, and we're just gonna go, down the list. Towards the end, it gets a little bit more off the rails. But let's just start, boys. Who do you think is the best player in this series?
Undoubtedly, Luka Doncic.
I agree.
All right. Now,
Yep.
their sidekick, the best two in this series. Maybe you could pick with anyone on the team, but it's probably between Jaylen Brown and Kyrie, right? Who are you taking in that head-to-head?
Derek White.
I was gonna say that.
Okay, well,
No, seriously. It's a hot take, but I think Jaylen Brown. I think Jaylen Brown's arguably the best two in this. The way he's been playing in this postseason, I think he's the best two,
Cheyenne.
in my opinion.
I don't think it's like undoubtedly like the best player, but I think it's Kyrie Irving. I mean, I don't think you're wrong for saying Jaylen Brown because he does play both sides of the ball, and he was incredible in the conference finals, especially. But I just think it's Kyrie Irving, man. He could just light it up, really bring some momentum to the court and for the team and for himself and his teammates too. I just think he's the second best.
See, I agree that Kyrie has been playing really well this playoffs, but I think I agree with Alex here, just because of how consistent Jaylen Brown has been throughout this playoffs. There's been times where he's looked like the one, like he's demanded the ball and taken over when they needed it in place of Jason Tatum. And I'm not here to just bash Jason Tatum this whole episode. I know there's people that like to go on Twitter and just bash Jason Tatum for doing anything really, but I think Jaylen Brown has been really consistent throughout this playoffs. I know there was a lot of drama around him getting the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, and is he the one? I don't think he's the one, but he's certainly just a 1B role so far throughout this playoffs. I don't anticipate him to be the guy in the finals, but I think he's heard a lot of talk around him not being, in that upper echelon of players, and I think he's a guy that has been really consistent for them. So I'll agree there with Alex, actually. For the best two, now the best bench player in this series, I think I have a feeling I know who Alex wants to say. I don't know if he'll actually say it. His favorite player comes off the bench for the Boston Celtics.
My personal favorite player is Peyton Pritchard for obvious reasons. I don't think he's the best bench player, though. I really got to think about this, actually. Sean, you go first.
I think it's Derreck Lively.
Okay, that's the thing. I think if you count Lively as a bench player,
yeah, because
yes, I think
he
he's
closes out.
As bench player.
Yeah,
and he's probably the most impactful. Yeah, but
yeah.
I feel like he's obviously the best. But it's like weird because usually when you talk about great bench players, they're usually guards or scorers, right? Guys who can do things with the ball in their hands. Lively isn't that. But his role is so perfect on this team that I think he probably is him, just in pure impact and like impact on the game and on like because he really is like it's a weird one because he could start. Like he's definitely good enough to start.
Yeah. I think he's better than Gafford, but they just do the same.
Yeah, I think Gafford is more experienced. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
That's why.
I mean,
yeah, probably Lively.
I think Lively is interesting because he plays like the same or more minutes than Gafford most games.
They play like the
just
same
because
exact minutes. They like
Yeah,
split
well,
them. Like,
you gotta give credit to Kid. I don't know how he isn't like perfectly split like every single time they play,
Yeah.
but I think Al Horford, someone that also I'm not saying he's the best bench player. I agree with you guys. Lively is the best bench player, but he brings some finals experience to this series. I know that Boston has some of it, but he's a guy that's been here before. He started for them for most of this playoffs, and they're gonna need him to step up, especially with the bigs that Dallas.
underrated bench player this series. I think it's gonna be Jaden Hardy, bro. He played amazing in the conference finals. You know, he was kind of like that little like backup like point guard. Anytime they needed like they had Kyrie or Luka out, you know, he was doing pretty well running the offense, making timely shots, cooking Gobert. You know how it is.
That's fair. I don't think he's going to get any minutes though. Personally, I just think they're gonna really time the rotation. I think because it is the finals. I just think he's the most expendable guy because you have so many guys like that. Even like Tim Hardaway Jr. Obviously, Luka and Kyrie are the main ones.
I
Like, you
think
don't
Tim
take the
Hardaway
balls out of
Jr.
their
has been
hands.
kind of like flushed out of
Yeah,
the
him
rotation.
too. Yeah, but like
And
at the
like
same time,
Dante
that's kind of
Exum,
showing.
kind of.
Yeah, like you're not really doing those scorers right now. You're needing the kind of the defensive players and the guys who really fit well around Luka and Kyrie. But yeah, he definitely has opportunity. As you see with Al Horford, like he's been great as a starter, but you put so many minutes on him already in the playoffs due to Porzingus injury. Hopefully, he doesn't tail off for the Celtics because he really needs him as like their kind of sixth man. Again, weird one because he's really a sixth man type, but he just brings so much in terms of shooting and defense and experience. And hopefully, he gets his ring. Hopefully, he finally gets his ring.
Yeah, that's true.
Hopefully.
He's earned it.
He
Yeah,
still got to get his ring.
Hopefully.
yeah.
Actually, that's a
Al
good one.
Horford.
I didn't even think about that. I don't know how to phrase this, but a player you'd like to see get their first ring, or not first ring, but get a ring this series. I know Kyrie's up there. Al Horford's
Pete Rich. Hey, in the summer he's getting married, but in the summer he's getting in the summer he's getting married. He about to get his NBA championship ring. Hey, I'm gonna be very proud of my boy. He's winning in life right now if he gets that ring.
Bro, what if he doesn't get the ring and he gets like and the engagements gets like or the wedding gets postponed or like canceled?
Hey, then I'll be there for him. Okay, if he ever needs him, hey, I got him, bro. That's my boy. That's slime. But yeah, see him and
Peyton Pritchard has 0 fans. I'm dead.
I'm not.
Like,
I'm dead.
Shane, you got one that a player you want to see win a ring,
player I want to see get a ring,
or another ring if you want to say Kyrie, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I just think the Kyrie's entire like story is like really cool, because you know he went out, you know, being the number 2 to LeBron, and then like, you know, wanting to be the number 1 in Boston, and then he kind of goes through like a little like realization, knowing like it's a lot harder and like taking it all like for granted, and like kind of like doing it with like Luka, who's kind of like a similar player to LeBron. I just think in like turning kind of like the narrative of his whole career around, because everyone thinks he's like a cancer, like terrible teammate, like stupid, like stupid, and like should retire.
He kind of was. That's the thing. Like he really has. He just shut up. I think for the first time in his career, he kind of just let. I mean, first time since he left Cleveland.
I think like some of the locker room stuff's kind of like blown
yeah,
out.
The locker room stuff
because like
was
yeah,
bad,
because
but
like Tatum and Brown, they just speak everything they talk about Kyrie.
Yeah.
It's like they're saying he's a great teammate. Like taught him a lot.
I think it is. You can't underestimate the impact like a guy acting like that has on the team, like in the locker room. Just because if a guy's talking that much shit and getting so much negative press, it kind of does affect the whole situation. And they really underachieved in Boston when he was there.
Yeah.
I just think finally now he's in Dallas, he's kind of just shut up. I think, and I think maybe instead going to Texas was a good thing for him and his views. Could be a good with the vaccination stuff. Maybe it's helping him getting into his own. But yeah, I'm happy for him because I'm glad he's a talented player, and I think sometimes you just gotta let the basketball come first and let everything else kind of go to the side and focus on what you got. And yeah, hopefully he does play well in this series because it is big for him with the whole Boston.
Yeah.
The white people.
I
wonder
what they're gonna say.
Let's go to the next. Let's go to the. Man, Fritz always want to go on crazy.
Hey, Adam, what are you gonna say?
Oh, a player I want to see get a ring. I mean, a lot of people talk about the Kyrie Irving aspect. I think it'd be cool, but I guess Luka. I'm a Luka fan, so I think it'd be cool to see Luka get his first ring. There's something about a superstar getting his first ring that's special. Like I look back to Giannis, like that was a cool moment. Like to see Giannis like first hold up the trophy. I thought that was pretty cool. So probably Luka. All right, most likely to underperform in the series.
As in player or team? Or both?
Player.
player.
I think everyone wants to go in one direction. At least if you look on Twitter, everyone wants to go in one direction. If you say most likely to underperform in the finals.
PJ Washington.
Oh, that was not where I was looking at. But hey,
I know what you're thinking. I think people can expect him to be that number 3 option, and like I just think the intensity of the finals, the Boston crowd. I just think he's not gonna. He's a role player for a reason. He's in this. He got traded for.
I don't really think anyone expects him to be like a number 3 though.
I think people are. I mean, look at the way
I think it's more of a big 2, and then it's like more of like a collective contribution. I would say their number 3 like option would be the bigs, like their contribution. I would say that's more of it.
I mean, look at the playoffs so far. It's been PJ.
Just only really in like OKC series.
Even in general, he's still taking a lot of shots. He's still being aggressive. He's still kind of shouldering a bit the load that when Luka and Kyrie are kind of not playing as well. Yeah, I still think he's being looked at as like, one of their main guys. Especially obviously he's starting, like he's kind of a shot creator. He's a shooter. I just don't think he's going to perform as well as many people like fans expect, and I think he could be an easy scapegoat for a lot of fans because that's what NBA fans do. We're toxic. We blame anyone that's partially at fault, and they say it's all their fault. So yeah, I hope not though, because I like PJ. He's good player.
Yeah, got out of Charlotte.
Yeah, hey, Brittany, what's her name? Brittany Renner. Brittany Renner. His baby mama, the one that
wait, no way. Really?
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, that's the one. I think the fucking child support was more than his NBA salary in Charlotte.
That's why. That
was insane. Yeah, it was insane.
How does that happen?
Hey, I mean, she was like, they started talking when she was like 16.
Oh yeah, I saw it was like
he was 16 and she was like 30.
She was like,
she was like, like come on, like, game is not game, Brittany.
And like literally right after the other kid, she did.
Oh yeah, bro. Oh no, the first thing that shows up was her dunk. Her and
Shannon Sharp.
Yeah. No, Shane, no. Don't do it.
Most likely to underperform, I would say would probably be Jason Tatum. Just because he's been kind of he's been kind of inconsistent in the playoffs this year. That's really what it is. I mean, I haven't really seen like Luka be that inconsistent. Kyrie stepped it up like pretty. I mean, maybe you could say the OKC series they didn't perform that well, but like given their track records, I think it's mostly Tatum because also in the last finals he didn't play that well. Yeah, I'm just like comparing it to like the number 1 option on the championship team.
I hear
that's the expectation.
I think the consistency thing has been a little bit concerning. I feel like that's like the pretty popular pick. I would probably actually say, hear me out on this one. Kristaps Porzingus coming back from the. I'm not saying he'll have a negative impact on the floor. I think it opens up things for other players, but to have an expectation that he's going to come back off the injury without playing in weeks and just be the same guy that he was before, I think is a little bit unrealistic. Probably be effective on the perimeter, but inside we've seen what the Dallas Bigs have done so far throughout this playoffs have been really solid. I don't think that he'll play the way he did for most of the season in this series, but I still think he'll be a positive impact on the Celtics, no doubt about it. But coming back from injury, not playing in a while is tough. And Dallas has the bigs to defend him. So I do think that Kristaps is probably not going to meet some people's expectations, but I still think he'll be a positive for the Celtics in this series.
Maybe like a sneaky low-key one might be like Drew Holiday, because bro be shooting some tour dates sometimes.
But the thing is, on this team, he doesn't need to shoot. But that's the perfect game of the situation.
But sometimes he does.
I feel like Drew Holiday has been a winning player for the Celtics. Like he just makes a big play for them when they need it, and it doesn't have to be scoring. Great thing,
especially defensively,
Like the other day, he got a game-winning offensive rebound. Like when they need him to. I don't know. I just feel like he doesn't have to be.
I just don't think like his defense is gonna matter this series. I think he's getting cooked.
All right. Well,
anyone's gonna be able to. No,
we'll bring that up a little later.
Wow.
All right.
Butler cooked him.
Ready for this one? Most likely to overperform expectations. Go off when. Okay.
No, seriously. Derreck White, bro. Derreck White is gonna have a great series. I'm telling you, this is a great series. I mean, defensively, the guards for Dallas aren't amazing. I think they're kind of vulnerable to guards like Derreck White can just create and make from themselves. I think if you see like a Tatum or a Brown struggle, it's going to be because Derreck White steps up because he takes their loading, he takes the shots away from them, so their stats aren't as good. I just think this is a great series for him, and I think he's a great player. I think he's gonna play great. He steps up in the playoffs, he elevates himself, and I think it's a great series for him. And I think defensively, he's gonna have a great impact. He's such a great shot blocking guard. He's such a great defensive guard in general. I wouldn't be surprised to see him on like Kyrie and to see him really like go to work on him and really make it hard for him. Obviously, it's Kyrie, so there's a limit to what he can do, but like it's a good series for him. I think everything really matches up well for him. Shot roll.
I'm low-key thinking right now. Hold on. I'm thinking
Okay,
deep
I
into this.
got you with one. I'm actually gonna say Jaylen Brown, because I don't think people have as high of expectations for him as a guy like Tatum, and I think he's gonna be on a mission during this finals. So I'll say Jaylen. He's been super consistent for them. Isn't a crazy pick, but I think he'll be solid again for them in the finals, and maybe even, hear me out on this, be the best player in the fort for Boston when they need it the most. So I'll go with Jaylen Brown.
Sigma?
All right, my pick, Derrick Jones Jr.
That's kind of a random pick, but hey.
No. I think he's gonna have like a couple games where he knocks down like 3-4 threes, has some like really big energy put back dunks or just like fast break dunks, and I think he's gonna play really good defense. I think he's gonna probably guard Jaylen Brown, maybe Tatum.
Okay. All right.
Probably.
I mean, hey, I don't hate the pick.
That's my
You
pick.
never know. These Mavs shooters, they could just heat up.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, now
what's the
we're
expectation on Derrick Jones right now? Probably not that
much,
high.
Not much.
So I think he.
All right. Now let's get a little bit more off the rails here. Most aura in this series.
Luka,
Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving.
I think it's no.
Luka's
Kyrie
aura has been
Irving.
skyrocketing though.
I think it's Luka.
It has,
bro.
but
Come on.
Kyrie Irving has
All
like,
the clips
probably
are of
one
Luka just talking trash to the crowd, dude.
Yeah, I mean the shit on
Kyrie
Gobert, like
Irving,
the Gobert play raises his aura like tenfold. Like, come
I
on.
mean, if that's the case, bro. I mean, Chris Paul has like a 2-minute like highlight reel on like Gobert, bro.
No, I'm saying
Everyone
the
has a
game-winning
highlight
shot
reel on
talking
Gobert.
shit. No, that's not the point though. It's about the situation to steal away from home as well. Come on.
Dude, Kyrie
Shot
Irving hit
roll.
the Game 7 shot, bro.
This is
that was
aura.
7 years. That was 8 years ago.
this,
That doesn't
aura.
hurt his aura though.
It doesn't hurt it. I'm just saying, like the fact Luka's aura is fresh. It's rising. I think he's the most aura right now.
Bro,
I have a
Kyrie
question,
Irving.
Alex. Do you think that we've ever seen a player that's fed off an opposing crowd more than Luka Doncic? It's like insane.
Okay,
like,
let's calm down.
every
Let's
time-
calm down. Okay?
No, I'm saying
Let's
he
take a
like
step
every
back.
time someone like says something, he's like goes off. Like I don't know
Irving
how.
and Jordan, I think would like
Dude,
to have
okay,
a
I
word
think
about that.
Westbrook.
But,
Westbrook, yeah, I think it's a little early for Luka at this
well,
stage. in his career.
Westbrook has had his moments with the crowd. But,
At the moment, I think he's
Utah,
definitely one of the. At the moment, he's definitely one of the best at that. He's definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, I think
All
Jordan,
right.
you can't come close to Jordan. Same with Kobe to an extent as well.
Zestiest
think.
player in the series.
Tatum, the glazing of Kobe is a little crazy. I mean,
That is true. Actually,
I got it for
I'm
you
gonna
to-
change
I
my
got it
pick.
for you
I'm gonna
to
change my
go.
pick. Hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna change my pick. I'm gonna say Tatum too. All right. Shall
I'll go with Tatum.
okay.
who
And
was the
then,
original pick?
Hmm?
Who was the original pick?
oh, I don't know, Derrick Jones Jr.
Why?
Why?
It was the vibes thing.
What's he done?
Why? What?
It
What
was a
vibes does he
thing,
give?
dude. It was fruity vibes, bro.
Nasty.
What?
Hey,
Why?
Happy Pride Month as well, as I said.
I was
earlier.
thinking,
Shout
I would have
out.
said like
Yeah,
maybe
wait,
like
why'd you say that, Pritch?
Huh?
Why'd you say it
Zesty.
was nasty? Oh, I thought you said it was
Nasty.
nasty.
No, it's like the edit. It's like, never mind. I've been a
Alright.
nasty girl.
nasty.
And then finally, I want you guys to think about this one. Worst player in the series that actually plays, like most negative, on that actually plays on the court.
Okay, so I'll go first. Are we talking about like what we think they're gonna do, their average, or like worst case scenario?
No. Just like
Just
their average
in general,
yeah.
like I think it's between whoever gets the minutes off the bench on the wing for Boston. It's gonna be either Sam Hauser or O'Shea Brissett. I think it's whoever gets the minutes out of those two. It's probably Hauser. I think it's probably him. Just because when he isn't hitting his shots, he's nothing defensively. He's only like 6'6", 6'7", so he's like a big body and everything. It's probably, and then Brissett is like, he's solid, but he's nothing crazy. He probably is the weakest player in the series who gets minutes. And the thing with Dallas is they have so many good. They have a solid like 10 guys the place.
Yeah.
If one of them's struggling, they can just take them out of the rotation.
The
Yeah,
thing about
that's
that
it.
is like that's what kind of confuses me because like Dallas, they have like so many guys they could play, but like some people just play like 5 minutes for real. Like
In the
You don't
rotation.
need
so it's hard to
Actually,
like judge.
I
Because like
wouldn't say
Tim
more about
Hardaway
Dallas.
Jr. was playing last year, but he was playing like 5 minutes a game
I
and
know.
not doing anything. Like
Okay,
are we
well,
counting
if you
him?
want to
Like
say Tim Hardaway, I'm not going to fault you here. Like, if
does
that's,
he
That's
count
fine.
though?
I was
He
Like
considering
counts.
saying.
I count him. I count him.
all right.
Who'd
But
you
like
pick?
he's
Yeah.
he could either be like the worst player or like their fourth best player, like low key.
Well, see, I actually think I was going to say Tim Hardaway. But they have kind of taken him out of the rotation, so I do agree with you with Sam Hauser. Although I think this series actually probably plays to his play style a little bit better. I know they were talking on it on the broadcast. They were saying that he doesn't do as well with faster paces, so maybe the Mavs slow it down a little bit for him, and it works out better for him. But I don't know. I think that one's kind of a toss up. And then the final one: whose legacy would best be helped with a championship in this series?
I think Tatum. Just because he has so many finals runs already, so many playoff runs, so much success at a young age. I mean, to get a ring at this age would be immense for his legacy. I think Luka's going to get one at some point, but I think getting one at this stage for Tatum is pretty important. I think if you're looking at him as like a Hall of Famer, like top 50 guy, because he definitely has the resume for that, which is weird because like he isn't really someone like he was ever the best player in the league at one time.
Yeah.
But he's able to be like a Finals MVP, lead his team to a ring, already have multiple finals, multiple conference finals under his belt. Like I just think his legacy is going to start really like shaping up to be like a top 50 guy. Because with Luka, he's going to get a ring at some point. Getting the team to the finals is already an insane achievement. And then if you look at the role players like Jaylen Brown, not as much as Tatum, Irving, Kyrie, he already has a ring. He already, this has been an amazing revitalization for him in Dallas. He's already fine. I think it's pretty much just Tatum for me.
I agree with you. I think
Thank
Tatum.
I
think Tatum's legacy would improve the most because I feel like people already kind of know like who Luka is, who Kyrie Irving is. They recognize them as some all-time great players, but I feel like Tatum getting a ring and if he like really plays like really well, like the clear-cut best player on their team, I feel like that does a lot for his career, and I feel like that even now like kind of moves him up like a little level, like where like people start kind of looking at conversations like, oh, is he like a top 5 player now? Is he like this? Is he that? And I think it'll help him like on his career resume too, like you said. Because the only thing he's really missing is a championship.
Why you start laughing, bro?
No,
keep going. I'll introduce.
All right, yeah, but I think a ring for Tatum would definitely help his career because one of the biggest knocks on his career is that he played bad in the finals against Golden State. So I think it would help him the most.
Yeah, I'm really torn on this one. On one hand, I want to say Luka's on an all-time great like path, and a championship here would kind of set him up to have a chance to finish as one of the all-time greats, like top 10 all-time great. Because he's only 25 years old, and I'm saying like set him up on a path to be able to do that. On the other hand, I look at Jason Tatum, and it's like, well, he has everything, and the only thing he's really missing is success in the finals. So you get him that one ring, and I feel like the conversation around him completely changes. I know you guys have said you can't see him as a face of the league, but I think a championship maybe doesn't put him in that conversation, but at least elevates him to the point where this is an all-time great player. And so for that reason, I'm going to say Jason Tatum, but I think it's really close between him and Luka. I know other people might also mention Kyrie Irving and how he's gone this 7 years without playing in a kind of was resented for a while. I don't know why y'all are giggling right now. Kind of was resented for a while, and this is kind of a feel-good story. And to get that ring would put kind of the cherry on top of all this. But I'm gonna go with Jason Tatum. And now we've done the superlatives, knock those out. We're gonna break down each of these teams and their paths to get here and how they kind of shape up in this finals. Let's start with Dallas. And to help us break down Dallas and Boston, we're gonna bring on a guest here, ultimate ball knowledge knower. Might be a Lakers fan. We don't know by his takes. His takes are kind of anti-Lakers, but we'll never know. Newest Chipotle worker joining us on the show is Aaron Millman.
Yes, sir. Is my mic working?
Yeah,
Yes.
your mic's working.
Mic
How are we
working?
doing tonight?
Yes,
How are we doing
sir.
tonight?
Doing good.
You
Doing
didn't
good.
say how. I asked you, how are we doing tonight?
What are we talking about? What are we talking about?
The finals.
Well, obviously. I heard something about Jason
I
Tatum.
said we're gonna break down the teams. Oh, we'll get to Boston. But hey, let's start with Dallas. They've obviously had probably a tougher run. Not probably. They definitely had a tougher run. Not even close.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah, what
Pritch
are you
can't
talking
argue
about?
that. Pritch can't argue that
I'm
one.
not gonna argue with that. Yeah.
I saw a stat. I don't know when was the last time it's happened, but first time in a while that a playoff team has beat 350+ win teams in their road to
Since
the finals.
2010
Obviously,
Lakers.
2010 Lakers. There you go. That's a great team right there. That's a
Wait,
championship.
50. Wait,
That
is
is.
it 350 win teams?
350
Yes.
win
Because
team.
Pelicans weren't 50 teams.
What?
Oh, Clippers.
No.
Yeah, you're right.
Hey,
My fault.
Yeah, they played the Clippers.
My bad. Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
British
you're right.
people.
I mean, the
British
Clippers,
people.
the Clippers were in.
That's crazy. They're a 50 win team though. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean the
half
West was
the
stacked.
West was, most of them were 51 teams.
That's
Yeah.
yeah. Still though. Wow.
Certainly battle tested. Went through the Clippers as you mentioned. Then they go on to play OKC, and then knocked out the Wolves.
Ran
Ran
through
through
the Timberwolves.
in 5 games. By the way, they didn't even go to a game 7 once this playoffs. Went 6. They went 6 against the Clippers, right? 6,
6 twice.
6, 5,
Clippers.
6,
6, 5.
6, 6, 5. Oh, almost
And
got
6 again.
All right, bro.
Trust.
But anyways, they're here now. Feel good story with everything going on with Kyrie. You got to start at the head of the snake, right? With Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. Cheyenne, I know we've kind of called it out throughout this playoffs. You've seen something in Kyrie this playoffs. What specifically have you seen from him that has allowed this backcourt to elevate to unprecedented heights right now?
I think it's mostly his ability to recognize when it's his turn to eat. He knows when he needs to get going and when he needs to set up his teammates more. Because usually at the beginning of the games, Luka's cooking. He has no problem deferring to Luka in the beginning. And then fourth quarter, when they realize the game's close, Kyrie realizes he could do his thing now. He could cook. He's the king of the fourth quarter, bro. He does his thing, man.
I mean, it's a good point. I mean, Luka's been on an unreal level. Kyrie's playing on an unreal level. They know when to pick their spots. They've been playing together. But I think a big, turning point for this team was the trade deadline. We talked about it a little bit at the time, but the additions of guys like Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington have been really big for this team. Alex, I'll go to you. What have you seen from those guys stepping in and really helping this team elevate to another level?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely, it's really changed the complexion of the team, and they fit so well around Luka as well. I think it's just an overall. It's been a great decision for them to go all in at the deadline, and really if this hadn't gone well, they would have been pretty much out of moves. So to see the success that this group has had is really it's really good for them, really good for their future. Especially last time there were rumors about Luka wanting out or he might want out. It doesn't go well, and now to see everything kind of figure out, they look like they're going to be contending for quite a bit in a very strong West. We're really seeing it. The West really. It's terrifying for the next few years. I don't think Lakers have a chance at anything going forward.
What?
You had to mention the Lakers. No point to mention the
point.
There's no Lakers. You just mentioned them.
Am I wrong? I'm just saying, for an average franchise like the Lakers,
Kings and Spurs don't have a chance
I mean,
either.
Wemby, but yeah, whatever.
Whoa.
But I'm just saying,
Wemby.
it's they really needed to go all in, and this is their time. This was their window, and they've made it definitely work for sure. And also seeing it's been a great situation. Even the minimum guys Dante Exum, Derrick Lively really step in and be effective. It's really been impressive for them.
Well, I feel like another important factor in this playoff run has been the bigs. Obviously, you mix Gafford in there, but how about Derreck Lively coming off the bench? Not really coming off. He's coming off the bench, but he's still playing comparable minutes to Gafford. I know Aaron has said. He hasn't seen this Lively. He didn't see him at Duke. He's a Duke fan. He didn't see this Lively Duke.
No way.
What have you seen from him in his ability to finish at the rim? I know last series he'd even miss a shot. I don't think he missed a shot.
No, he was 16 for 16.
Passing too after catching the ball off blitzes. What have you seen from his ability to extend possessions, to offensive rebounds, do all those stuff, to help the Mavericks win?
I saw him at Duke. This man was not good.
Not good. Whoa,
I
whoa,
think
whoa.
he
This guy was
averaged-
wondering.
He was not good.
He wasn't good. He
averaged
struggled.
like
He struggled.
under 10 points
Yeah,
a game.
he struggled, dude.
He averaged under 10 points a game. He looked like Rudy Gobert on offense. And that's what he looked. That's what he looked. He was not good. He obviously he still rebounded. He still played defense. Obviously,
he was drafted for his upside.
And then
he was drafted for his upside rather than like
and
what he actually
when
had.
he got drafted to the Mavericks, I thought it was a perfect fit because he didn't have to do anything else other than block the ball, rebound, and then catch a lob. That's all he has to do. And he's 7'1". He's not very big in terms of weight like Chet Holmgren. But like he still serves his purpose. He sticks down low. And then all he has to do on offense, catch a lob. That's all you gotta do. He's perfect for it. And then obviously they bring in Gafford, who I think is kind of a great compliment because he's a little bit more muscle than athleticism. Because Lively's on the court. I think his plus minus is like plus like something crazy. Which I don't know how much better he is than Daniel Gafford. I don't know, but the plus minus I guess says that he's that much better. But I think what the Mavericks do is that they play both of them like 25-ish minutes each, so that none of them are gassed. And then so they just go out for those 25 minutes, and then they're just balling out. And then I think that with the offense, how much teams are going to focus on Luka, Kyrie, it leaves the middle of the paint wide open. So then all the guys have to do is either just keep going in the basket or catch it, just kick it out to like PJ Washington, and then it's an easy bucket. Like I think as long as the bigs just play the role and don't turn the ball over and keep making good decisions, I think that their offense is just going to keep going.
All right, now kind of transitioning to how this fits, in the series. You obviously have some pretty tough defenders on Boston. I think that's an underrated part of their team. You have all NBA defenders with Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, very capable defender. I'm interested to see whether he's going to play a limited defensive role to kind of conserve him for offense, or if they're going to use him at times, maybe even on a guy like Luka. Tatum's obviously a capable defender. Kristaps, good defender. So they have good defenders on this team. Cheyenne, I want to start with you here. You're looking at a Drew Holiday possibly on Kyrie Irving matchup. How do you anticipate them, that matchup working out? And I know Drew brings a lot of toughness and a lot of grit to this team, but do you think he'll be able to contain the guards of the Mavericks?
I think it would be smarter if they put Drew on Luka, because I feel like if they put Derek White on Luka, Derek White is way too skinny. He cannot outmuscle Luka in any way possible. And I think at some point in the series they do have to put a bigger body on Luka, because I think Drew too short, Derek White too skinny, like not strong enough. I think that's ultimately the problem. Like no one can.
Here's what I think they should do.
Luka.
So throughout Luka's career, there's been like almost nobody can guard him, right? But the closest anyone came to guarding him successfully was Ben Simmons, right? At 6'9", 6'10", long athletic forward type build, okay? Muscular, strong. The closest thing in the league to that, I think, is Tatum in terms of the build. So I think Tatum should be guarding him from the first minute of the series. Tatum should be guarding Luka, in my opinion. And then you leave Derek White on Kyrie. I think or Derek White or Jaylen Brown. I think you put Derek White, and then over the game, as the game goes on, you move Jaylen Brown over. I think because you don't want to gas out Jaylen Brown too early offensively. I think you've got Derek White.
You're gassing out Tatum from the beginning of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
I think, but you have so many offensive options on the Celtics. Like you can live with that.
But you're wasting your biggest offensive option.
But there's so many. That's the thing, and I feel like defensively you need to have.
But not to the level of Tatum.
You can. So what's the alternative? Like it's the finals. Tatum can do both.
Yeah, but would you not say that Drew Holiday is probably their best on-ball defender?
I think he's shorter. I think he's too small to guard Luka.
I don't think length.
And I think Kyrie is so like. For me, for Kyrie, it's just he moves so much. He has all that tricky shit. Like I think.
Yeah. I think they gotta have Jaylen Brown on him.
That's fair. But I think Jaylen Brown's kind of a dumbass. Like he's not the smartest defender in my opinion.
I don't know. I think Drew Holiday. I think for Luka, I don't necessarily think length of the defender matters. I think it's more, can the guy kind of just bump him around all game? Because you saw.
I mean, look at Lou Dort, though.
You saw what Lou Dort did.
Like, they're the same build.
Luka didn't.
That was the best.
I think that's because of injury.
That was the best defense of the whole playoffs.
Still struggled. I mean, I think personally, I think you want a longer, bigger body on him, and I think you want to put Drew Holiday on PJ.
But then you had
Did you
Jaden
not see
McDaniels.
Jaden
on him.
McDaniels? Did you not see Jaden McDaniels on him? He got cooked.
Yeah, he's skinny. Jason Tatum is big and strong. He's too jacked. I mean, he's been training since like last summer to get big like this. I think this is it's a perfect. It's his time. It's perfect for him. And I think then you have
But Cheyenne, just like Cheyenne said, though, he's going to be gassed. He's your number one offensive
so
option.
be it. Like,
you
I
cannot
think,
have that man of Luka Doncic the whole game.
Yeah.
I think you should though. I think you should at least try from the start. I think that's the way.
Because, bro, he's going to be fighting through screens every single possession, bro.
Let him. Like I feel like
Why?
then you have Porzingus.
That's
like,
wearing him
well
down from the beginning.
compared to like the Minnesota series. Like I think you should. It's the finals, okay? Like if there's a time for him to get worn down, it's now. Like you should wear him down.
Jason Tatum isn't like an all defensive player either. Like where you will do.
He has the upside to be that.
Yeah, but
why would you
have such a
determine
great
to see if
defender?
he has the upside in the finals?
But it's a physical build. Luka's a completely unique offensive player. I think you need to put a guy like Tatum on him because that's like the closest thing you have to stopping him. I think it's the closest thing. I just think it's maybe it's something you do over the game. Maybe fourth quarter you do it. But personally, I just think there's no real alternative.
I don't think you could do it the whole game. I think at spurts, of course, put Tatum, put Brown, put everyone you can on him, bro. At spurts of the game.
I just don't think you can wear him down from the start.
No, but Drew Holiday isn't like that much of an offensive factor for the Celtics, or he's not greater than like a Derreck White.
Okay, so here's what I do then. What I would do is I would use Holiday as like a double team. I think you have to double team Luka, in my opinion. Not every possession, but I think you have to be trapping him. You have to be forcing the ball out of his hands, right? And I think you use him off ball. Use him on Derrick Jones Jr. or PJ. I think probably PJ. It depends how they're shooting, right? And I think you just have him constantly trapping, pressuring Luka. Use him as like an off man, just doing whatever the fuck he wants, and just let him just wreak havoc. And then play 4v5 with everyone else and just let it happen because there aren't many creators. I mean, if PJ's struggling, which I think he might, as I said earlier in the series, I think if you're forcing the ball, I'd rather lose to PJ Washington than Luka. Okay. And I think that's the way to preserve Tatum's energy is by using Drew as like an off-ball pressure and trapping and all that shit to get the ball out of his hands.
See, I think I actually kind of agree with you. I think you have to bring.
This is an agreement with first pod, bro. It's never happened.
Here's the thing. They have capable players. Let's not act like they don't have capable players around Luka. But I don't want to lose to Luka Doncic. Like, why would you? Exactly. Why would you die on that hill? It's not worth dying on. I think they have to bring doubles on Luka and Kyrie when Luka's out of the game. I think you could approach this from an interesting perspective and say, hey, maybe Luka's just going to get his 40, but we're not going to let Kyrie Irving go off on us. So I think you have to find who's better actually at guarding Kyrie Irving between Drew Holiday and Derreck White. I think Derreck White could be serviceable. I prefer Drew Holiday on.
I don't think Drew Holiday's stopping him, bro.
I prefer Drew Holiday on Luka actually in this series. But if Derreck White can't contain Kyrie Irving, you saw what happened when the Mavs had Kyrie and Luka going. They're pretty unstoppable. So I would actually find a stopper for Kyrie Irving because I feel like even if Luka goes off in the series, if Kyrie Irving isn't a great, player for the Mavericks in the series, I don't see how they win. So I would try to double Luka and just find whoever's better at guarding Kyrie between Drew and Derek. I'm sure they hope Derek can guard Kyrie because I don't think they want to throw Derreck White on Luka. I don't think that's going to end well for them. But if they do, good luck to them. I think they're going to have to double. I think it's going to get to a point in the series where they're going to have to double, like Pritch said. So we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. We'll have another episode, throughout this final. So we'll talk about the adjustments they have to make. But moving on to the Mavericks role players here. Is there anyone in particular you guys think has to step up this series? I know PJ, when he's been good for them, has been a big factor. Lively and Gafford, big for them. But I'll start with you, actually, Aaron. Which role player do you think has to step up the most for the Mavericks to be successful in this finals?
I think it has to be PJ Washington because I don't think it's going to be any of the big guys because I don't think the Celtics have that kind of offense to where they're just kind of trying to keep going at the paint. Like, they like their perimeter kind of sort of offense. Like, I don't think that, because even with their Celtics personnel, they got, Horford at the 5 or they got Tingus Pingus at the 5, and they're hanging out at the 3-point line. they're not even in the paint. They're at the 3-point line.
No,
Especially with Porzingus being kind of banged up.
Porzingis posts up quite a bit now. Like Porzingis has been very good. Him and like especially like out of the pick and roll with Derreck White, like he's been playing really well inside. His post up efficiency is like second in the league. Like he's become a post up guy in Boston. Yeah.
But I think even still, I don't think Porzingis is fully healthy. Like this man has been through some injuries this year, so I don't think he's going to be as physical or as dominant inside as he might be. So, but I think it's more important for the on offense that someone needs to be that guy who can just knock down an open three. Because if they're not hitting threes, then the defense of the Celtics is really just going to just converge on Luka and Kyrie, and then it's just going to be awful for the Mavericks. Because then Derrick Jones Jr. is not hitting threes, PJ Washington's not hitting threes. Both their centers aren't offensive creators whatsoever. They kind of play off of Kyrie and Luka. So if they don't have those guys hitting those outside shots, like I would say PJ Washington's that guy that needs to be able to at least just hit that three or make the defense respect him enough to where the lane just doesn't just fully enclose. I think that he's easily the most important.
Sam?
Yeah, I agree with that because he's probably going to have to guard Tatum, but I'll just go with the other wing. I'll say Derrick Jones Jr., the guy I said most likely to overperform. I just think his defensive impact and, like, he just has, like, timely plays. In the series in Minnesota, the first two games, he didn't really play that well, but once they moved on to Dallas, he started hitting a couple threes. He always has, like, amazing energy plays, which I think is going to be really, like, a big key for them, especially in Boston, a really hostile arena, good crowd. I think that'll be really important for them because he always has like an amazing putback dunk, highlight alley-oop with Luka. And I just think his defense is going to be really important. And he, like PJ Washington, he needs to hit down his threes as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the wings will be important for the Mavericks. I still think Lively is probably going to be the most important player just because of his ability to distribute off of blitzes. I think there's going to be a point in the series where they're going to start blitzing Luka and Kyrie, and I think they're going to throw the ball into Lively, and he's going to have to kick it out to one of these shooters, a skill that maybe Gafford isn't as adept with. So I think Lively has been really good for them, as you mentioned earlier, with the plus-minus, Aaron, and I think that last series he was the third best player for the Mavericks, and I think he's going to have to be the third best player again for them here. I know he's a little bit banged up with the concussions. Karl Anthony Towns likes kneeing him in the head. Naz Reid punching him in the face. I don't know what's going on with him. He got kicked in the nuts too. I mean, he's going through the ringer right now. Prayers up for Derreck Lively. Hopefully he's feeling better. But he's a guy I think they need healthy and ready going in, to this finals. And then finally, to wrap it up, at least for the Mavericks, we'll get into Boston, but for the Mavericks, I'll give you this sentence. The Mavericks, this must happen in order for the Mavericks to win the title. Give me one thing that must happen for the Mavericks to be hoisting the Larry O'Brien trophy. Alex, I'll start with you.
Hit threes.
Hit threes.
It's just hit threes. I mean, it's a court of basketball now. Like, it's just, if their role players hit their shots, they're winning. They're winning. Like, same with Boston too. Like, it is just basketball now. And like I mean, if you're gonna be more specific, I think it's Derrick Jones and PJ Washington hitting their threes. Because Luka and Kyrie, they're gonna hit their shots regardless. That's how good they are as players. They're gonna get their points, they're gonna get their plays in, but it's just the role players around them. And in a series like this, you're gonna have to probably trim your bench a little bit. So it is those guys gonna be playing a lot more minutes. They're not necessarily expected to play as well as they have been playing. So it's about maintaining that and just being productive in their minutes. But for me, that's the key. It's just hitting their threes.
Yeah, I think Pritch is right. It probably is hit threes. I think one thing I would say is that there needs to be some sort of defensive intensity from Luka and Kyrie. Because you see them each series, they guard the guy who's a traffic cone out there. They just stick in the corner. They don't move. But against Boston, there's not really a guy you can just do that against. Like maybe Drew Holiday, maybe, I don't think so, that you can kind of just stay with them and kind of just slack off a little bit. But with Tatum, Brown, Derreck White, Porzingus, there's no breaks on defense. Like this team they have 5 guys on the court that could probably cook any one of the Mavericks one-on-one. So it's going to be about Luka and Kyrie have to pay attention on defense. That's
good. Kind of going to what Adam said about the Celtics trying to look for the best matchup on Kyrie. I think it's like Kyrie needs to be at his best. He can't play like he played against the Thunder at all because I feel like against Boston, they can't afford to have like 2-3 bad Kyrie Irving games. He needs to be at like the level he played at against Minnesota every single game to have a chance to win.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, but I'm not gonna copy you there. So I'll actually go to the defensive end, and I'll say they have to contain Jason Tatum because they've been a good defensive team throughout this playoffs. But there's something about Boston when Jason Tatum is playing well. I mean, they're unbeatable. Like when Jason Tatum goes off for 30 or 40 points. I mean, I don't know if the whole team rallies around him or there's just a different vibe, but when Jason Tatum is cooking, they're unstoppable, in my opinion. So I know there's going to be a lot of pressure and heat on Jason Tatum, and I know Jaylen Brown's a really good player. Listen, Jaylen Brown can get his 26, his 30, but I think if Dallas is able to contain Jason Tatum, I trust their offense enough to where they can outscore Boston. So I know Jason Tatum, I don't want to put all the pressure on him, but I feel like if he goes off any games for the Celtics, I feel like they'll win any of those games that he's the main player on the floor. So I think their wings have done a good job of defending some of the better players in this playoff so far in terms of the Mavericks with guys like Derrick Jones Jr., PJ Washington. They've done a good job on the defensive end, but they're going to really need to step up this series, especially with the guys that Boston has. Now, transitioning to Boston here, little deep dive on them. Obviously, they've had potentially the easiest run to the finals in NBA history, at least recent history. I don't know your thoughts on that, Aaron, but we had a long discussion about that. They run through. Who did they even play in the first round?
Played Miami
Heat without Jimmy.
That was supposed to be an upset. And then Jimmy Butler. And then, they go to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Series ended
Mitchell and Jared Allen
Donovan
are
Mitchell
gone.
gets in. Yeah. Oh, and
Darius Garland.
Don't forget about that one. Darius Garland sucked that
No
series.
Jared Allen either.
Indiana.
There is.
Indiana, uninspiring series again.
Terrible.
Halliburton got injured. Close. It was a close sweep.
Boston was not losing a single game to that team. They are terrible.
I mean, I think we can admit Boston hasn't looked, perfect throughout this playoffs, but at the end of the day, they've only lost like one game.
Two
Two
games.
games throughout this whole playoff.
Combined with the regular season and playoffs are 76-20. They lost 2 games.
I mean,
good for them.
Like that.
I think
Every
everyone
team that's done that has won a ring in the finals, going to the finals.
The Warriors didn't.
Having less than 20.
Right?
Okay, except the
73-9.
Warriors. Yeah, actually, that's the only one that didn't. Every team that's had less than 20 losses going to the finals has won a ring.
I think
This is a special team we have
Yeah.
here, and I think people are getting that.
No,
It's sexy.
I think everyone acknowledges
they're 64-win team.
It's a
That's
good team.
gone through the conference with ease. They're still a very good team. Okay.
everyone acknowledges they're the favorite. They've been the favorites the whole playoffs. I put
People,
them as the
people
favorites.
saying they aren't. I've seen so many Mavs picks. Honestly,
because they're stupid.
Oh no! I'm just
Yes,
I'm just
exactly.
Saying, I'm just
Like,
saying. No, I'm just
people
saying
lack
throughout the
common sense.
playoffs. Throughout
Like,
the playoffs, they've been the favorites, have they not? The whole season they've been
Yeah.
the favorites. It was like
Yeah,
we're waiting to the playoffs to see.
I say after the Nuggets Timberwolves series, I think Timberwolves are the favorites, and I think
Oh,
the Nuggets.
geez.
were the
That was
favorites
Stephen
going-
A. That was
No,
Stephen
a
A.
lot of
Smith.
people were saying that the winner of
That
Nuggets
was
Timberwolves
Stephen A.
wins the
Smith.
finals because the Timberwolves match up
Ants
very well
got
on
aura,
paper
bro.
with the
That's
Celtics.
the only reason
Hey,
why
at
they
least you
said
weren't
that.
someone who said winner of Lakers Nuggets is gonna win the finals.
Yeah, what
Yeah,
idiot said
Yeah,
that?
wait,
No, I
Aaron,
didn't think
Aaron,
that got
Aaron,
you don't know.
Aaron, did you
That's
hear?
not, hey,
he thinks
that's not
hey,
true.
he
That's
thinks
not true. I
Lakers
said they
are
were
the
going to
third
make
best
the
in the team.
finals.
First,
Whoa!
he thinks Lakers are the third best team in the league right now. He thinks that they could
Oh,
make.
what did
last
I say
episode,
that?
last
When
episode
did
he
I
said
say
that they
that?
could make the finals.
When
He
did
hadn't
I
played them in the
say
first round. They'd
that?
have
You're
made the
just putting
finals.
words in my mouth. You're just putting
That's what
words
he
in my
said.
mouth. I
That's
never
what he
said
said
that.
last episode.
I never.
You did. He
By
said
the-
if they hadn't played them in the first
that's
round, they would have gone to the finals.
I said
That's
they
what
would
you
have.
said.
I said they would if they
They
didn't
would.
play Denver. They would.
You said they would have been Dallas. Are you insane? Do you really think they would have been Dallas?
First of all, I revoke that. You didn't even listen to what I. You didn't even listen to my whole saying. I revoked that.
You still said it, bro.
Hey. And I never said that the winner of Lakers Nuggets was gonna win the finals. I said they were gonna go to the finals and lose to Boston. So
Oh, jeez. If the
I
Lakers
don't
played
even
Boston, if the Lakers played Boston, you would not have picked the Celtics. Don't
Yes,
even
no, you
I
wouldn't have
picked,
better.
I picked Boston to win this championship coming in. All right. Anyways, we talked a lot.
No one likes the
We
Nuggets,
talked a lot about the matchups on the floor. Let's actually go.
I picked the Mavericks to win the chip. So
Whoa! All right, let's chill out. We'll make the predictions after. All right.
Just saying.
Let's switch to Boston now.
Alhamdulillah.
I actually want to start with Joe Mazulla because Joe Mazulla, to me, is an interesting figure in all of this. I feel like he's a guy that has become a little bit underrated in NBA circles.
No, he hasn't.
I feel like
underrated to begin with.
No.
I mean,
okay, a lot of
last year everyone was saying he was.
yeah,
trash.
a lot of people.
he still is. He's still not a good coach. Like he's
He's not trash.
he's not.
See, that's what I'm saying. Y'all ain't even,
He's not done a good job.
see
Like
it right
at the end of the day, I think, and there's some
Not a good job.
What do you
He's
mean,
only
bro?
lost, like how many games?
They're in the
this year?
finals.
Yeah, they're in the finals.
Yeah, I know.
But is that not good enough
I
for
think
you?
his of his adjustments are pretty weak. in
Oh
my opinion.
my
I think he
God.
struggles with adjusting. I think look at all the stupid losses that they've had in this, or like near losses they've had.
All right,
But
bro.
they didn't
Miami hit
lose.
like their
Like-
most threes in like franchise history, bro.
Yeah, I know. Again, I'm talking about the
I
regular
want to
season
say
as
that's
well. Like, this is the
stupid.
whole year.
Like that's just.
They've lost so many stupid games. They've blown so many like leads. Like it's kind of not that good a coach. But at the same time, neither is really Jason Kidd. So I think he's not gonna get exposed. This isn't like a Spoelstra series or I don't know who else like an elite experienced coach.
Aaron, you seem particularly distraught.
I don't think he's a
right
good coach. I think
You're-
he's like 35 years old. He's a second year coach.
He's
I'm
saying they're
expecting
not
it
good
out of him.
coaches, but they're both in the finals. Like what? That doesn't even
Yes,
make
because
any
the
sense.
teams are great.
You
Look,
can't
coaches
have
don't
a
mean that much
bad
in my
coach
opinion in NBA anymore.
and make the finals. That's not.
Bro,
possible.
I mean,
In my opinion, NBA coaches don't matter. Like
surface
it's
level,
just
like
not.
no one looked at like the Mavs like from the beginning of the playoffs. No one thought they were gonna really go to the finals, but me, obviously. But Jason Kidd has to be doing something right for them to be in the position
I
they
feel like
are.
it's the front office. In my opinion, it's the front office. Like look, he didn't make the trades. The front office
Brad
did.
Stevens, hey, clap it up for Brad Stevens.
Yeah, clap it up. He's doing a great job.
Hell
I mean, getting
Hell
Porzingis
no.
out of getting Porzingis and Holiday out of out of last year's team is insane. Like I mean, the
Hey,
improvements.
all I'm
is
saying is,
crazy.
if I'm Brad Stevens and they
They
don't,
traded like Robert Williams and like Malcolm Brogdon.
yeah,
I-
Rob Williams, Marcus Smart. Who else?
Marcus
is that?
Smart.
Who else in those trades? I mean, it wasn't that much, was it? It was like, and then it probably like,
Brogdon too, yeah.
Brogdon, yeah. But like, hey, it all worked out pretty well, didn't it? It's like a perfect.
Yeah,
move.
two players who basically were injured the whole year.
Yeah, no, didn't really play that much this year either. Like it's like
Yeah.
best case scenario. Yeah, he's doing a great job. He's a good.
do you
Smart,
trust Joe Mazulla in this series?
I trust him just because of his team. I don't trust him because of him.
Okay,
I just-
so you don't
I-
trust
the
Joe
same
Mazulla.
thing with
but
like-
you
You
said
don't trust him.
Okay, fine. I don't. I don't trust Jones. I don't trust him, but I don't think it's going to help him back from winning, in my opinion. I feel like it's just kind of, it is what it is. Like you just like there's been weak, like Doc Rivers won a ring. Like come on, there's been weak coaches can still win a ring regardless of the talent on their team. You know, not regardless. Like if their team is talent, they can still win. Because at the end of the day, they're still good coaches, but they're not going to change a series, in my opinion. They're not going to like Joe Mazulla isn't the edge in the series. Neither is Jason Kidd. They're just good coaches. They're going to do the obvious things. They're going to try things out. They're going to,
Hey, you just said they're good
like-
coaches.
yes, because it's us. Yeah, there's some people that know what they're doing. This isn't like putting me as a coach. Okay, like they're still competent coaches, but they're not going to change a series. Like Spoelstra would change a series, for example. Like Steve
Okay,
Kerr would
well,
change a
he's the
series.
best player.
These are
best
just-
coach in
yeah.
the NBA.
Yeah.
Exactly, that's the thing. No one's they're just average NBA coaches.
I
They're
mean,
solid coaches.
they're
They're
not
not
average,
average.
they're
They're
average.
stable
They're in the
jobs.
finals.
They're
I
in
mean,
Yes, because of their teams. Their teams are very good. Like it isn't like they're turning shit into salad over here. You know, they're turning very good teams into very good teams. They're doing what's expected of them. In my
I don't
opinion,
know.
that's
I don't know.
average.
I would say for the Mavericks, if you look at their roster, I wouldn't say that's a finals team.
I'd say the fit
I
is
wouldn't
amazing.
say-
I'd say all the players fit perfectly around two superstars.
I don't know if you would have said that a year ago.
No, bro, you did
Yeah,
not
no,
say
the
that.
same-
people are back.
No, I'm just saying. I'm saying the main fit of Kyrie and Luka. I don't know if you would have said that a year ago.
I mean, if people have been saying they're two of the best backcourt, that's like the best backcourt ever. Like I
They
don't
were
agree with
saying
that.
that.
But-
They were saying that a
Scoring
year ago.
backcourt. Scoring backcourt.
yeah, okay, yeah. So
Now they're playing
backcourt.
defense.
They're saying that.
Is that kid? I don't know.
I don't think it is Kidd because coaches. You think they're playing defense with Jason Kidd? No, they're playing defense because they want to win. Like this isn't Jason. Like it isn't. It was their choice to play defense here, right? Like they made. Like they were just lazy. Like I don't blame them. Like they have a long season. They work hard. They score.
All
a
right.
ton of
Well,
baskets.
let's get back to Boston here, since this is
Yeah.
more of our Boston portion. Porzingus coming back, obviously, big impact for them. Cheyenne, I'll start with you here. How does that affect this series going forward, and how much better will they look with him on the floor as opposed to him being on the bench?
I think it'll help a lot because throughout the playoffs, Dallas has had a huge advantage in the paint with Lively and Gafford. And I think if Boston only had Al Horford and like Xavier Tillman as their bigs throughout the series, I think that they would have kind of got destroyed inside. So I think having Porzingis does help a lot. However, I am like slightly skeptical just because he hasn't played basically the entire playoffs, and just being like thrusted out there into the finals will like hurt them. But I don't think it would like hurt them as bad as just having like Xavier Tillman be their backup or 35 minutes of Al
True.
Horford. So I think it'll help them overall.
Well, it helps them because in their starting lineup, you have 5 guys who you can trust to go get your own shot, to go get their own shot. You can't say that about pretty much any other team to where you could say,
Almost
just
ever,
pick one guy in
Yeah.
your lineup, say, go get your shot. Like, you can't say that about any other guy. And even if he isn't,
Every guy's an
100%,
offensive and defensive plus. Like,
even if he isn't like 100%, he's still, just by being out there, still a threat and still helps the Celtics because he's still better than Al Horford, even, slightly injured maybe, because Al Horford right now he's a stone on the court. He sits on the 3-point line. He does not move. That man does not move. And then Porzingus, I think people underrate his defense. Like, he's a good shot blocker.
Yes.
And I don't think
Finally,
Horford's not that.
He's
He really, at this point, he's
defender,
a 3.
Yeah.
He's not even 3 and D. He's just 3. There's
He's a
no
positional defender. Smart.
Horford's just 3.
Bet. Yeah.
So I think with Porzingus, not only do you just add just another guy to go get his own shot, you have on the defensive side, you also have a real rim protector. Like, they don't have that without Porzingus, I don't think.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned the offensive thing. Like, this is one of the few teams ever that we've really seen that has their starting 5 have really good players on both sides of the ball all the time. Like, if you look at the 5 guys that start, Drew, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Porzingus, like all 5 of those guys are great offensive players, or at least above average offensive players, above average defensive players. There's no weakness on this team on either end. And I think that's just something like we haven't seen that in the NBA for a long time, or at least not for a few years. Like, maybe even Golden State in like 2018 or something. That's the last time we really had a team that was like elite. And then even then, with their own weaknesses, right? Like, this is a team, they're very uniquely built, and I think it's just going to come down to their mentality and just how focused they are, how locked in they are, and if their shots, and how the bench plays. I mean, it's really like on paper they should beat the fuck out of this team, but it's just, are they going to step up and are they going to actually play like to their expectations?
Well, you mentioned the shot making. At times, people have been concerned with Boston's approach of shooting all these threes
in the clutch. I think it's a bit concerning. Like,
well, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But there's been concerns of maybe, sometimes Jason Tatum, you got to stop settling for shots. Like, get to the rim. Let's stop the 3-point shooting for a little bit, or you got to be more aggressive. Or are there any concerns about the play style here? I'll start with you, Aaron, of Boston superstars maybe at times being a little bit passive and shooting a lot of 3-pointers, or are you fine with the mentality of we're going to play our game and stay consistent throughout the series, and in a best of 7, hey, we might drop one because we didn't shoot well tonight, but we're still going to end up winning the series?
I think there is a concern just because, I mean, every series Boston has that one game where you just who is this team? Where they just look terrible. Like, they look like a fringe playoff team.
And I think that's because they can't make a shot. Like, I mean,
yeah,
their 3-point shooting is atrocious. Yeah.
But I think because of that offensive style where it's kind of just, they have just so much talent on the court where I kind of think that Mazulla probably does at times sit back and say, okay, Tatum, just go do you, or Brown, go do you, whatever like that. But I think sometimes that is going to, have a negative effect, even though sometimes it's obviously going to yield something positive because they are, players of that caliber. They're just that good. But I think that sometimes their offense is just way too stagnant. It's kind of just sit around, all right, Tatum, you go get your shot. Next possession, Brown, go get your shot. To where I think it's not really an offense at times. It's more of just kind of like a playground, just type of, blacktop, go get your shot, try to go cook something.
Yeah, like my turn, your turn, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's where, if they're not hitting their shots, they're going to lose. Like, there's no way you can win that game if Tatum or Brown, who more times than you would probably think, are not having a great game shooting the ball in terms of efficiency. I think that is a real concern because I think it's almost guaranteed that they're going to lose at least one game. Like, I don't even think a sweep is even on the table because of how, inconsistent their offense can be. Like, there's just such a wide range of possibilities that they're on. Because they could go put up probably 85 one game if they don't shoot well, but then they could also drop like 145 another game if they are shooting well. So I think that it can really be a problem.
Yeah, and I think as you're saying offensively, they need to. They can't be a Trae Young series. This has to be a Derek White series. Like it's the way they're playing.
no!
Oh my
No!
gosh.
You have to
bro.
play smart back. Like
Oh
seriously, there's an
my
element to it
God.
with like Tatum. Like Tatum can't be selling those threes. He has to get to the basket. He has to use his body.
True. I
Like,
agree with that.
like
but you
whoever's
didn't have to
guarding
bring up
Tatum,
Trae Young to,
probably
you didn't have
Derek
to bring
Jones
up
Jr.
Trae Young
Yeah,
to
there
make
was,
that
there was
point,
no
bro.
reason to bring up
Like, I
Trae
just-
Young.
I mean, that's the epitome of like you me basketball, where it's like your shot, my shot. Like, but I think with Tatum, like yes, he's gonna have Derek Jones Jr. on him probably. Like I don't know who else they put on him.
PJ.
He's gonna have this.
Yeah, PJ.
PJ is a bit too slow. I think on the perimeter.
No, I like
to hang with
Derek.
him.
I think
I-
Derek's
I like
probably
Derek
better.
Jones more, just because of the athleticism.
Yeah,
I
PJ
think
and
you have to
Jalen
take him
Brown.
to the back.
I feel
I guess
like
so, but that's the thing. It's a
feel
weird
like-
matchup. I don't
no,
know.
I
like,
feel like Tatum's too strong for Derek Jones.
Yeah, I would say
I
Derek
would
Jones
say
a little
PJ.
slow.
I think
I
He's too
mean-
strong, bro.
well, what if you put PJ on like Drew Holiday? Because Drew Holiday probably doesn't do much on the ball.
Why?
He's more off the ball.
Why you put Luka or Kyrie on
They're
Drew
not going-
Holiday, bro?
That's fair. You see, that's the thing. I don't know. Like it's a really weird matchup for the Mavs.
You could definitely make a
because
better guess than put PJ on Drew Holiday.
I feel like that's not what teams sometimes do that. Where like on because Drew Holiday isn't like
PJ and Derek
Jones
are
Jr.
their best defenders. They're putting them
Yeah,
on
exactly.
Tatum and Brown.
So you're gonna put him on the
PJ?
two best
It's not
players.
I don't think
rocket
PJ's their
science,
best
bro.
defender. I don't think. I
No,
don't-
him
I
and
mean,
Derek Jones Jr.
No,
in
yeah,
the starting
they're the two
lineup.
best. They're the two
Oh,
best.
okay, yeah, fine. I'll give you that. Fine. Okay, that's fair. I guess you put probably Kyrie on there, like Derek White or something, just because of the
Yeah, and
build.
like
Luka
yeah,
and
and
yeah.
then Luka and Drew, and then okay.
Drew.
Yeah, that's fair.
The big on the big.
Again, it's kind of a weird series to defend defensively because the best two players on the Celtics are wings, and then your wings are like your guards who are kind of defensive liabilities don't have anyone to guard.
Non-defensive
That's
liabilities. They played amazing defensively this series. Or a lot in the playoffs.
physically. Okay, Kyrie physically is going to be a bit of a
This
liability in the series.
He's never been a
His body.
defensive liability in his career. No one's ever picked on Kyrie Irving defensively.
Yeah, Kyrie's an average defender. He's an average NBA defender.
Yeah, for sure. But I think in
Yeah.
the finals, average.
I think
NBA
he's thinking about the
players-
size, right? I mean,
Yeah, size. He's like what
Boston
6'2"?
brings
Like
He's the same size as Derek White, pretty
Yeah.
much.
he's 6'5". Derek White's 6'5".
Kyrie's 6'2".
Yeah,
It's
but
a
he's
3-inch
thin.
difference.
He's
Derek White's
thin.
not gonna back him down.
Yeah,
shoot
switches.
turnaround
Team
fade.
switch. They're gonna see switches at some point. They're gonna eventually Tatum on.
And then
Irving or
Tatum's gonna
something.
take a step back three on Kyrie.
That's
I
the
don't
thing.
see
He
the
has to be
problem,
smart
right?
and not do that.
all right. Redirect.
He has to be smart and not take those shots. He has to make advantage of his physical gifts because he's a true 6'8", 6'9" slasher. Like he's a big ass motherfucker right there, and you have to. He always settles these little step back threes, these bad shots. Where like at the end of the day, if he's really doing what he does best, he can dominate this series. But I just think the Mavericks don't really have anyone to guard him per se. Like they don't have a real Tatum stopper in the same way that other teams.
I think they do.
Yeah, I
PJ
don't know
Washington.
He's too
about that
small,
one.
and I think too slow.
Hurt.
I
All right,
think
all
he
right.
could fit it physically.
PJ Washington's like 230.
Yeah.
Yeah, but physically he's shorter.
He's like an inch or two shorter.
A couple inches shorter. What's Tatum's weight? I don't even. Okay, Tatum's 210, but he's like.
All right.
Also, Jalen Brown's 220. I did not know that. But
Jalen Brown looks built.
yeah,
he's
that's
thick.
fucking hell though. I mean, maybe you put him on. I guess maybe you can hang a Luka there. He's that big. I don't know.
Oh,
Um,
jeez.
Whatever. We'll come back to
No
that.
one's
Pause,
hanging
but,
with Luka, bro.
No.
Yeah, I
man.
know what I'm saying. I never thought of him as like bulky, but hey, I mean.
Bro, you could have the plan B double Luka the entire game. Literally just have two people on him the whole game and then basically just play 4-on-3 and I still betting Luka to get 30, bro.
See, that's. I mean, I feel like with
He
traps, it's
gets
like a lot
his.
easier. I mean, Luka doesn't put up 30 every game, like in the playoffs. There's been games where he's just dished the ball a lot more, and he's kind of had like. Definitely had a game in like maybe the OKC series.
My bad. 28
No,
points.
Pritch, I'm not even
My bad.
joking. There's a stat
Or
where
6
like
point.
Luka is like historical in the amount of games that he's scored like 30 points, like in his.
I know. I'm saying
Like,
like in the
and it
playoffs
just-
this year. Like
I don't have
swear
the
there's been a
stat.
game
I
this
have the
year
stat.
where he's.
The only series really was like
Okay, yeah,
OKC.
OKC and a bit
Yeah,
of the
OKC.
Clippers.
He had like 19, 22.
But that was when
18.
he had the injuries, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm
his
saying.
peak injuries, is
I
what
mean,
I'm saying.
I just feel like
He's
they're
gonna be a lot healthier now, bro. He's feeling good
All right.
right now.
and I think
Yeah,
they're just gonna
especially with the
blitz
week
him.
off.
I think, and I think they're gonna just blitz him, and I think it's gonna be harder for him to get his 30, or maybe less efficient. Might be like I don't know, like an 11 for like 25.
A Trae Young
yeah,
30?
a Trae Young stat
Like,
line,
that way-
11 for 25 or something with like
Oh
15
my
for
gosh.
threes.
All right, I'm
Bro.
gonna bring this back. I'm gonna bring this back. Stop talking about Trae Young, man. Nah, you muted, bro. How can I mute?
He's
you?
obviously he's
Okay,
obviously gonna have
all
a great series. This is like that's not like Luka's gonna have a great series no matter what. It's just about making his life harder so that you can be better. Like at the end of the
Nothing
day,
can
you
make
don't want him
this
to
man's life hard.
get an easy 30. You want to be hard 30. That's the work
True,
for his 30.
yeah.
You know.
All right.
It's like Kobe back in the day. Like Kobe's gonna get his baskets. It's just make it hard for him.
All right. Now we're slandering Kobe, dude. I mean, why you gotta bring?
It's not slander. It's not serious. No, it's serious. Like that's
British people, bro. I'm telling you.
That seems like a shot, bro. That seems like a
people.
shot. You're like Kobe's gonna get 30 either way. Like you
yes,
got.
That's a good thing. He's always gonna get his shots.
He's getting 50 either way.
He's getting 30.
Yeah.
Look, Kobe would always.
He's gonna get 73 on them.
It's just about how efficient can you make it. Can you make it and miss an extra like 5 shots, and then you're getting those possessions back. It's just like that's how you got these great scores. You have to make them work for it. Otherwise, they're just gonna destroy you because they're gonna keep scoring. Like same with Jordan.
He's already gonna destroy you.
Yeah,
I think you can make him work. I think he's still gonna score. I mean, I don't think
it's hard. It's a hard earned.
You gotta make it hard.
I think
he's a hard shot maker, though. I don't think it really matters. I mean,
yeah,
you can make it as hard
over the series. It's going to become harder and harder if you keep going at him physically.
If you're physical,
bro. If the Timberwolves couldn't have gas pro out,
the Timberwolves
were not physical enough with it.
Jaden McDaniels was a physical matchup for him. And then you have Gobert. They played
that was supposed to be their strength, though. You saw what they did to Jamal
Luka. It's ridiculous. Porzingis, I think they need to play really aggressive. Porzingis on the perimeter, in my opinion, on defense. That's the main thing because you can't play
Porzingis on the perimeter. He will see. He will see what Porzingis did for him on the Mavs against the Clippers, all those series, and then he will destroy this man and send him back to Latvia.
That's when you blitz and you double. That is when you blitz and you double. This is how basketball works. You don't leave him on an island. That's what Timberwolves is stupid for that shit because they left him on an island. That's when you double and you blitz. You use Drew Holiday, you use Derek White, you make shit happen. That's how you do it. This is how you guard in the NBA. You have to blitz and you have to double, in my opinion. You can't let him go one-on-one with anybody.
I agree with you. I do.
Like you just can't.
All
right.
I think
if they drop coverage like they did against with Minnesota did, he's gonna get killed because he's anyone would. Like it's not a Gobert problem. It's a fucking defensive matchup problem. It's a defensive coaching problem. That was on Chris Finch that series.
Gobert is terrible. Stop it.
He is.
No, they didn't play to his skill.
Let's get on Minnesota. Why are we talking about Minnesota? Those guys are in Cancun.
They just played it. Okay, whatever.
All right. I'll propose the same question I gave you guys earlier. The Celtics must blank to win the NBA Finals. Aaron, I'll start with you.
I mean, I think the only thing is that they just actually are invested in the game because there's times where they just kind of black out and the game kind of just they're not really playing. They're just kind of out there. So I think it's just that they have to realize they're in the finals and that they need to be just locked in every single game. It's all that because if they're locked in every single game, this is their series to lose. There's no reason they should lose a series if they just don't have that game where they just black out. All they have to do is show up and just be somewhat into the game, and they're gonna win the series. It's that simple.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm the same. I think it's just focus. That's the word. They just have to focus and be locked in from the start of the game, especially. They're the better team, and I think we probably know that to an extent. And I think it's just staying focused and not getting too cocky and just taking care of business. That's all they need to do in the series. It's something they had so many stupid losses this year. Against teams like Charlotte, right, where they just haven't focused. They had the game against the Cavs when Dean Wade had all those threes in the fourth quarter, where they were up by 20, the game was done, and they just lost focus. That's just the thing with them. They're a great team. They're just sometimes a little immature, and also the clutch, just scoring in the clutch, being efficient in the clutch, getting good shots, being willing to create with other guys, being not just giving the ball to Tatum because he's Tatum. Going to the hot hand, going to the right play. I just got Jaylen Brown in game 1 of the Pacers series. He can hit those shots, right? You trust in him to hit those shots. I just think it's focus and it's clutch execution. That's it. That's all they need to do. Or that's all they need to do. That's all the exceptions.
This might be a little obvious one, but Tatum needs to have a great series. I don't think he could just be considered, Jaylen Brown could be their best player and they could just win the championship. Tatum needs to be their best player. He needs to have a great series. Can't have a bad series. They're not winning against the Dallas Mavericks if he has a bad series.
Yeah, Alex talked about it a little bit, but I'm gonna go a little bit more in depth. The Boston Celtics can't mess around in the fourth quarter because we've seen them, kind of let these teams hang around, and Indiana's in the game in the fourth quarter, and they pull away at the end. They hit a 3, with 2 minutes left. Derek White, they pull away. That's not going to happen in this series. They need to stay at least if they don't stay even in fourth quarters, they're losing the series. Because I'm telling you right now, if Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown don't bring their lunch pails in the fourth quarter, they will get dogged by Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. Because what have we seen throughout these whole playoffs? Those two guys in the fourth quarter, I mean, they're going for at least like 20 combined in the fourth quarter, at least easily.
They're gonna outscore your entire team.
They outscore entire teams in the fourth quarter. Those two guys. I mean, we've seen what Luka Doncic has done at the end of games by himself. You look at that game 2 where he hits the game winner, and you look down the stretch of some of these games against Minnesota where he's just taking over at the end of the game. But Kyrie Irving throughout this whole playoffs has been incredible in the fourth quarter. He's made a living in the fourth quarter. He's had first halves where he scored 6 points. You look up at the end of the game because he scored like 20-something points in the second half. He's been incredible down the stretch of these games. And Boston is uninspiring in the second half. They're uninspiring at the end of the game. They let teams hang around and they pull out a win. That's not going to happen in this series. And there's not a team that you'd rather, not play in the fourth quarter than the Dallas Mavericks. I mean, you have arguably the 2 best closers in basketball on the same team, and you're going up against a team that hasn't really put their foot on the gas and closed out games in fourth quarters. I'm really concerned about Boston's ability to close out games, and I think in order for them to win this series, they must be equal, at least in fourth quarters, and keep their foot on the gas, even if they have a lead, because I think they'll have multiple leads in the series. It's going to come down to whether they can hold those leads and fend off Luka and Kyrie down the stretch. Now, before we give our predictions, there's a lot of storylines in this series. Any particular storyline you're looking forward to seeing play out? I know we got the Kyrie going back to Boston, a lot of history there. Porzingus going back to Dallas, a couple more. Any that you guys are interested in seeing? Cheyenne, I'll start with you.
I like how Luka will probably do in his first finals. Just compare him to other greats. The first one on top of my head.
Aaron, you got any?
Like, this is kind of
This
is Luka's, like, if you're looking at Luka as like a top 10 all-time talent and looking at him like potentially getting to a conversation, like if he wins, this is gonna be massive for him and his legacy. Being so young, what is he, like 24? 25. Like this is 25. Like this is the chance for him to really like get on that track to being like a top 10 all-time player, getting on the level of like the staff. This is really like he could definitely get into the conversation pretty soon if he keeps, because he's 4 first-team All-NBAs already. Like if he gets it and bring on to this Finals MVP, 5. Like it would be insane.
He already has the same amount of stuff.
Yeah, like he would definitely be like, in the Pritch all-time rankings, it would be going up. That would be a big change. He'd probably be the biggest winner from the season by far. Definitely not Trae Young, but
bro.
I had to throw it in, bro. He's not even.
All right, Aaron, you go, man. This guy. Every time you mention Trae Young, you dude.
I think they're both right. Everybody probably wants to see on the Mavericks side how Luka's going to do. But I think
bro, say something else, dude. I was about to say Luka. Damn, say something else.
I don't think it can be anything else. The biggest storyline is Kyrie against Boston. That's easily the big, because Kyrie and the Boston fans don't like each other at all. We've seen how Kyrie has kind of acted towards Boston. We've seen him, doing stuff with the logo. We've seen him flip off Boston fans, when he was on the Nets. I mean,
he had the sage thing.
Yeah, he had the sage thing. When he gets to Boston, these guys are going to be, who knows what they're going to be shouting at him from the sidelines. What they probably want.
I wouldn't want to hear what he's going to hear.
Exactly.
I low-key want to hear it.
I don't want to know what they're going to be saying to him. And if he gets even one win there, I think that, that's a huge boost for the Mavericks. I think that's probably the key for them to win the series. They just need to win one game on the road. That's all they need to do, because I think that's going to be that much of a needle mover for them.
Yeah, that's probably the storyline everyone's looking forward to the most. I'll bring up the 2 superstars each individually here. We'll start with Jason Tatum. We know what a final would do to his legacy. It feels like it's the one thing that he's really missing from his career so far. He's made like 6 or 7 Eastern Conference Finals. Insane. Great stats throughout his career. But a finals would really shut a lot of people up, I feel like. Everyone, what Tatum has said, he doesn't have the finals yet, perennial choker. Well, if Jason Tatum goes out there and is the best player on the floor, in the finals, and he wins Finals MVP, and Boston finally gets their finals. I mean, what can you really say against Jason Tatum? He's done it all. He's had the success on the floor. He's won a championship at that point.
It's up his
Been the best player. I mean,
I don't even think he needs to be the best player on the floor. Just the best on his team.
best on his team. All right. I mean, listen, I don't know if you're going to say he's face of the league, but I mean, easily top three.
I wouldn't say that, but
If he wins the finals, if he wins the finals,
No, he wouldn't.
if he wins the finals,
I still.
I don't know.
a top
I don't
3
know.
player
Yeah,
or like
I
face
mean,
in the league.
What else are you going to say against Jason Tatum? He's won a finals. He has the stats to back it up. I mean,
But
what
I
else
think
is there
even
against
if they win, people are just gonna say, "Oh, like look at his team. Like how could they have lost? Like that's what
Yeah.
they're gonna say."
I mean,
Yeah, it's
what do
a
you want him to
bullshit
do?
situation, really.
What do you want him to do? He can't change.
Well, no. For me, I think you're right. I'm just saying the general public just doesn't like Jason Tatum whatsoever for some reason. Like some people think Jaylen Brown's the best player on that team. That's ridiculous. No left hand Jaylen Brown is not the best player on the team. Never was, and he never will be unless Tatum leaves. But I think you're right. Like it's gonna put him easily into that top 5 discussion.
Yeah.
Top 3, I think is
All right, maybe top
Yeah,
five,
top three's
top five. All right, and then
I agree
let's
with
move to
that.
the Luka piece of this because I want you guys to listen very closely.
No,
I think. Whoa, chill out! I haven't even said anything, man.
yeah, but you.
I think Luka Doncic is 4 wins away from being the next face of the NBA. I truly think that if he wins a final, what is he, 25 years old? He has a chance to go on an all-time historic path in terms of his career. You look at a guy that right now I think most people would consider is at least a top 3 player in the league. If you don't have him as a top 3 player in the league, I don't know what you're smoking, but I think that Luka, if he wins the finals, becomes the best player in the NBA. I know a lot of people like Jokic. I think it's very arguable. Jokic.
I agree with that.
Can I
But,
say why?
I mean-
Can I say why I disagree real quick?
Yeah.
Because I think, okay, here's what I think. I think to be the best player in the league, first of all, like undisputed best player in the league. Like I'm talking about like
No,
everyone
I
agrees.
don't
That's
even
what it
think
sounds like.
I mean, I guess I would consider it undisputed. I don't think the general public would consider it.
Yeah,
undisputed.
Yeah, I'm saying like
never gonna
for you
be
to like personally like
undisputed.
think that, right? Like first of all, you have to have an MVP, I think that's because I think we can't just keep transferring the title of best player in the world around. I think it's such a special title to have.
Oh well, the MVP clearly
something.
isn't the best player in the league. That's been
No,
made
I'm
very-
just saying that's like a
very
barometer.
clear.
That's like a way of measuring it. Like if you haven't got to that level, and also Jokic just got it last year. Like I think you can't just be switching it every year based on who wins the ring because then that's not fair. That's not. That means it's stupid in my opinion. That means LeBron was never the best player in the NBA before he won in 2012. Like it's a stupid argument to say that it's dependent on who wins
Well,
the
but
ring.
is there anyone that stands so far above
Jokic.
I think with Jokic,
Oh, yeah,
Jokic
Jokic
does not
does.
stand so far
He
above.
does.
and
He does.
beyond. In my opinion,
Jokic,
he didn't have better stats than Luka.
How doesn't he? What? No, yeah, okay,
did.
because he
He
didn't.
didn't.
Oh, I mean, no,
That's a
yes,
fact.
No, he did
I
not.
think you're bullshitting. You're
You're
bullshitting.
bad stats.
How?
Yeah, on teams that were struggling. Like I think we're forgetting how dominant.
Struggling, they
Jokic
were a
was.
51
And it's-
team.
One good playoff run does not mean that like he's the best player in the league. Suddenly, he's
Well,
a
how
great
many
player.
good
You
He's
say
playoff
that
runs
for the
does
Nuggets.
Jokic
They
have?
had one good
What?
playoff run.
And
That's all you can say.
if Luka
And he's a he had 4
Jokic
years
and
of
Luka
dominance.
have been to the same amount of conference finals.
He had a dominant career so far. I don't see how this is. It's dominant. Like the last 4 years of Jokic have been some of the best basketball we've seen. Like Jokic at his best, was reaching like prime LeBron levels offensively. I think in terms of dominance and in terms
What?
of, yes.
No.
How's this an argument? Just because he
Prime
won doesn't mean he's
LeBron?
not
Prime
valid.
LeBron was a guaranteed trip to the finals. Prime
Because the East
Jokic was
sucked. Because the
clearly
East was
not.
so bad. Because the East was terrible. He's
Jokic
just
blew
terrible.
that lead in Game 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I'm not saying.
Can you imagine
obviously
if Prime
players
LeBron
lose.
blew that lead in Game 7?
He didn't.
He'd get
He
killed.
blew so many leads. Yeah, he didn't get the lead in the first place. He just lost. But like, okay, the thing, I would say that in terms of offense and then defensively, LeBron's in a different level. That's what
All
separates
right.
them.
What? Okay.
But in terms of
Let's
the
get off
dominance,
LeBron.
and-
Let's get off LeBron.
LeBron Glaze session. What in the world?
What? I'm not a LeBron.
Hey, bro,
glazer. I'm just
Aaron
saying, like,
defending LeBron was kind of unseen.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like,
even that was just.
it was something that was like universally agreed on.
You just hate for Jokic that much where you
3
defend
months ago, we
LeBron.
were talking about this shit. Like this is something we talked about. You can't just switch up. If 3 months hasn't changed how good these players are, they just have been in a better position. Lucas had a perfect team built around him for him to succeed. The Nuggets team was not a perfect team.
around him too.
No, it wasn't. Not this year.
Last year,
Or a good team. And no, it was still a really shallow team.
How?
It was still he had.
It's not
He
as
had
good
the
as
best
it wasn't
starting
as
five
good
in
as
the
last year.
league.
It was
and a
it
good
was not
bench.
as good as last year. I'll say that.
Last
It
year's team
not.
was a lot better, but they weren't a perfect team. They weren't a very well-assembled team. Bruce Brown was a good sixth man. Then they had
Okay, they
a
were a
rookie.
very good team.
Then they had
They
a
were
rookie that made a
amazing,
36-year-old Jeff Green.
Come on,
That was their
Aaron
bench.
Gordon
yeah, but
fits
their
them so
role
well.
players were playing
KCP,
very well.
MPJ,
This year, not as
Jamal
much.
Murray,
Yeah.
Bruce
It
Brown,
was a
Jeff
great team. They still
Green.
had a weak bench.
Everyone.
Like, this is we all agreed on this at the time. I don't know what's changed. The team.
How?
What's
the bench
changed is
was
the last
worse
couple
this year.
weeks. Have you not been watching basketball? What do you mean?
They're still the
No,
same
no,
players. Like
But
It is not the same players. Look,
they are.
moments like game 2 in the Western Conference Finals change your status as a player. That's
It doesn't go from you're clearly the best player in the NBA to you're not the best player in the NBA.
No,
It's more of an argument
he
now.
was
I'll say
not
that.
clearly
It's
the
an
best
argument.
player in the NBA.
Yes, he was. You're
No.
saying that,
Jokic was clearly the best player in the
Okay,
NBA.
Yes, he
I'll
was.
say this.
This is
I'll
a
say this.
debate.
He might have been clearly the best player in the NBA, but this was not like a LeBron like type gap. The gap was not.
No,
yeah,
he was the
no,
closest
No,
we've
it
gotten
wasn't.
since
It was
LeBron.
not.
It was still arguable.
He was the closest we've gotten since LeBron to a gap over your peers.
No,
That's the closest we've got.
No.
Who
He
was
was the
closer
only
to the
one.
dominance? Who was closer? He was closer than.
Okay, first
I'm
of all,
talking about the advantage.
I'll say
Okay,
this.
wait.
I was
I'm
of the
talking about the
opinion.
gap between your peers, you, and then the second best player. Since LeBron,
I'll say this.
Who?
I was of the opinion Jokic shouldn't even have won the MVP this year.
Yeah.
Who
Who
said-
doesn't mean you're the best player.
34.
You said it yourself. Best player doesn't get MVP. That's what you
What?
said yourself. You said it yourself. The
Yeah,
best player doesn't always
I
get
know,
MVP. And vice
but,
versa.
but you're saying, oh, he needs an MVP to be on the same level.
I think in terms of undisputed best player in the NBA, you need the regular season accomplishments as well. Like it's just he was best for a few weeks against like good teams. Like
I mean,
It's-
you
it's
could
a whole-
argue
to be
Kobe
the-
was the best player for
Okay,
years,
but-
and he didn't win an
No, he
MVP until
wasn't.
2008.
he wasn't the best player for years. No, he wasn't. That's not even an argument. Okay, don't
You
even.
could
We're not
argue
even
that.
going
What do
there
you
with Kobe.
mean?
I personally think Kobe was never the best player in the NBA. At one time, he was so good for so long. I don't think he's ever consistently the best player like over a year. I don't think you'd say that.
All right, can we get off Kobe?
I-
Dude?
British people, bro. I'm telling you, bro.
Trash
These British
Kobe on
people,
this.
I don't know,
It's just
man.
bias at this point. It's just bias. But whatever.
Oh.
All right,
Like,
okay,
I think-
okay. Let's get it. You don't believe he can be the best player in the NBA? So I'll go.
he can be. Not right now. It's more of an argument.
Oh, okay. So
It is an
the
argument,
championship,
though.
He won't. win, right?
Everything's an argument.
Oh, Pritchard's mic went out again. Oh,
Even the computer knows he's saying
Oh.
dumb stuff.
All right, now let's go to the next. Let's go to the next step of the evolution here. I said best player. Oh, Pritchard, some nice work.
Low key would be cutting off at like the best time.
I said best player, but I also said next face of the league. I know that's pretty debatable there, but I honestly think that he wins this championship. Competition's Anthony Edwards, who he's already dogged.
No.
Competition's
no.
Wembanyama, who I think needs some time because of the situation he's in.
Yeah.
Clear path to the throne here. He wins a
But-
championship. It's in a Dallas team that like can't win after like this year. Like they're pretty young. Kyrie's 32, but they're still pretty young. I think this is a guy that can win multiple championships down the road. He's a guy that, okay, he's European. He's not American. All right. Maybe that affects his marketability a little bit, but he's still a guy that is very vocal on the court, at least. A guy that attracts a lot of attention. A lot of people, another thing, a lot of people hate Luka Doncic. And that's
He just said he
yeah, well, Alex is just wild in the chat, but a lot of people hate Luka Doncic, and oftentimes that's a sign of a guy that a lot of people are gravitating towards, whether it's negative or positive, but he's commanding a lot of attention, is my point. And I honestly see the way that his play style, his dominance on the court, I see a path to him being the next face of the NBA. And I think a championship would go a long way. But off Luka now. Predictions for this championship. I know Alex is trying to rejoin here, but I'll start with Aaron. Give us your championship predictions for this finals. Who's coming out?
Championship prediction.
ask Alex what his prediction is real quick
Yeah.
in the chat.
No,
Nugs and
Aaron,
6.
Aaron, you say it.
Nugs
I'll
and
ask.
8.
I'll ask.
All right. Championship prediction. Like, I mean, there should be no reason it's not Boston, but I think that it's gonna be which stars do you trust more or would trust more? And I think Kyrie and Luka you undoubtedly trust more than Tatum and Brown. I don't even think it's a question. If you were to bet who has a better series, I would bet on Luka and Kyrie. I would put the house on it. So I think because of that, I think they probably lose game one. They probably lose game one in the Garden, or not the Garden, in Boston. But I think they come back and win game two. And then I think they win the series in 6. I think Mavs in 6. I think that's the right prediction.
That's a very good prediction because I also have the Dallas Mavericks in 6 games, but I don't really think it's that they'll lose game 1 and win game 2. I think they'll win. I think they'll win game 1 and lose game 2.
Yeah, I can see it.
Wait, say that again.
Me and Aaron both had Mavs in 6. He just thinks we both think Mavs will steal one of the first 2 games at Boston, but he thinks it's game 2. I think it's game 1.
Yeah. I mean, I can see either one. I can see Luka just come out.
I just think
so let me get this straight. Aaron came on this and said there's, Boston realistically should have no way of losing this. And now he said Mavericks in 6. And now Cheyenne's going to come on and say Mavericks in 6. And I'm going to come on here and I'm going to say, listen, the Boston Celtics should win this series. The Boston Celtics have no reason to lose this series. And yet they have been so uninspiring in this playoffs. They've been so lackadaisical throughout this playoffs. And the Dallas Mavericks have been so dialed in, especially when it matters the most, that I can't trust Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown to get Boston over the hump, because as good as Boston's team is, when it comes down to it, I really don't think the teams are going to matter as much in the fourth quarter. And if the game's close in the fourth quarter, history has shown, at least throughout this playoffs and throughout their careers, there's no reason to believe in Boston's 2 superstars over what the Mavericks have. So I think you guys are right, actually. And I don't want to make.
What do you mean, actually?
Who's been right the whole playoffs?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I said the Mavericks would win the chip from the beginning.
Whoa. I've been on the Dallas train for a while. Don't even listen. I've been on the Dallas train since the OKC series, all right? But
I've been on them since the playoffs started.
You hated in fucking OKC. That's not fair.
What? I don't know that they beat Minnesota. I mean, damn. All right. Well, here. Listen. Going back to my prediction, I got Mavs in 6. I think Luka Doncic. This is going to be.
Why don't you have an original thought for once?
I think this is going to have a
thought for once. What is this Mavs in 6? Give me something different.
Say Mavs in 5, Adam. Double down on it.
Hell no. Hell no.
Hey,
that could look really bad if the
more.
series goes. I was gonna say Mavs in 6. If you guys said it first, or I said it first, it wouldn't have changed anything. This was nothing
All
new.
three of you
I
said
had that in my head. Yep. And
we
let
all
me finish out my
said
thought.
We're all wrong,
Let me finish out my thought.
Well, what'd you say about Minnesota, monkey?
Here. Let me finish out my thought. I actually think that the turning point in this series, like you guys said, is going to be early. I think the Celtics will grab game 1. I believe they did the same when they were in the finals last time against Golden State. Grab game 1. Game 2 comes around. This is a big game. If the Celtics can get that one right, they win. I feel like they'd win the series. But I feel like Kyrie Irving in Boston has a legacy moment where everyone expects Luka to be the guy. And I think Luka Doncic will have his moment in this playoffs. But I think there'll be a point in time, probably game 2 or game 1, where Kyrie Irving will hit a big shot down the stretch in Boston. We'll look at that and say, man, that was a career, not defined.
That won them the series.
That was a big moment in his career and will be for his legacy. So I think that Dallas pulls this out in 6. Alex Pritchard third. Tell us why we're wrong.
You're wrong because you're underestimating how good the Celtics are, and you're forgetting how good they've been the whole year. Like, it's so easy to get on the hype train of how well they've been playing. This is the story of the Mavericks. But at the end of the day,
I've been on the hype train.
Yeah,
Celtics are
we've been on.
I've been on the hype train before there was hype.
every single quantitative method of evaluating basketball, they are just a better team. And you can have your doubts about Tatum. Tatum is still a top 7, 8 guy in the NBA. I think you need a top 7, 8 guy to win a ring. I think they're battle tested.
Luka's a top 1 guy.
They have experience. Drew Holiday experience. Al Horford has experience. All their guys have been in this position before. Luka has it. The role players on the Mavericks have it. I just think that there's something to be said about a team that has experience, been to the finals, knows what it's like to lose, know what happens when they've lost. Because they lost in a very similar way. to what you guys are saying, where it's like, oh, they get their hearts killed at home by it was Steph in the Golden State series, and now it's going to be Kyrie. Like, this is a battle-tested team. I think they know what they have to do to win. I think it's just about them being focused, and I think they will be focused because it is the fucking finals. Like, this isn't the Pacers bullshit anymore with the Halliburton. Like, they're playing an actual team. They know they're playing a good team. So I think they're going to come.
Whoa. One question. Hold on. When I said the Lakers were going to turn it on, you said a team doesn't just turn it on in the playoffs. That doesn't happen. Why is Boston?
Because here's the no. I'm saying mentally. Like, I think the difference is that was a regular season. I'm not trying for the Lakers. You're telling me they're going to go from that to one of the best teams in the NBA? I'm saying
no, but I'm saying there's moments where it looks like Boston isn't dialed in. Why? What is the difference?
They lose their focus because the Celtics are still winning games when they're not locked in. So look what happens when they are locked in. I think they like that's the thing with this team. I think they're such a special team, and I think we're really going to talk. We're forgetting that this is like an all-time great regular season team. Like, we're forgetting how good they were being, and it's just like it's ridiculous.
I mean, all-time great regular season teams can be beaten. We saw the greatest regular season team ever lose.
Alex, I do have a question for you here, because the past probably 2 series that the Mavericks have played, and you've said that statistically there's no way that OKC loses. You said yes, you did.
You said that both
series. I didn't say no way.
You said.
That's what you said.
You said you can't see the Mavs pushing the T-Wolves even past 6.
No, but here's my question. It's felt like physically, emotionally, spiritually, if you want to add that too. Dallas has sort of overwhelmed the team that they've been playing.
Especially no team as good as Boston by
far.
No, but here's my question. What's the difference for Boston? Is it a guy like Drew Holiday that brings that toughness and brings a different dynamic that they maybe have been missing?
It's better. The other teams.
So you said that about the past 2 teams that Dallas.
The difference was closer and they were less experienced. Okay, this Boston team is very experienced, proven winners. I know people talk shit on them, but they've been to World Conference Finals and they've missed in their careers. As a team, they know how to win. They know how to compete. This is a team they have. Their top 5 is arguably one of the best top 5s we've seen in a long time. Like, in the last 5 years, definitely, I think, for sure. There's no one close.
You could argue the same with the Mavs top 2. It's theirs.
That's a stupid.
What
are you talking about? What?
No, Pritch. If in this series, would you trust Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum more than you would trust Kyrie and Luka?
I trust the role. Okay, no, but I trust the role players a lot more than I trust the Dallas role players, if that makes sense. Because sometimes your shot players are always going to contribute. So it's about the guys around them, how they're going to play. And I trust the Boston role players a lot more. I think they're more experienced. They have more winning qualities. I think.
But we've seen with the Boston star players, they're not always going to
contribute. They are.
You've seen in the finals, Tatum hasn't.
They still put up 30 a game, just inefficiently. They were still putting up good stats,
bro.
Less efficiently. Tatum put that series. That was Jaylen Brown. Wasn't that the series where he couldn't dribble or something? Everyone started talking shit on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was Jaylen Brown who struggled that series, not Tatum. Tatum in a good series.
Tatum also struggled in that series. Why do you think people aren't so high on him?
They're high because he loses, and it's fun to make fun of Jason Tatum because
he hasn't played well, bro, in the finals.
He did play well. They just didn't win. They lost 3 games straight.
So you said
that's the thing. People talk all this shit for no reason about these players when they play great. It's ridiculous to me. And I think you guys are biased and you're bullshitting. I feel like.
So I think you brought up an interesting point.
Bro, in the finals, he averaged 21.5 points.
Yeah. Okay.
How's that good? That's a 6-point drop off from what he normally averages.
He was gassed by the end. Those things happen.
Why won't it happen again?
He's not kidding anymore. He's older. He's
I think you bring up a good point. They're a very experienced team if you think about it. I mean, this is a team that has been in the Eastern Conference Finals for as long as we can remember. They have plenty of experience deep into playoffs, and I wouldn't agree that they know how to win. I think they're learning how to win, and they're farther along in that process of learning how to win. And what scares me from the Mavericks' point of view is they're still winning these close games, as you mentioned. They'll have a bad game, but I feel like they're learning how to win games maybe they shouldn't have won, where they don't play their best, and they're still winning those games. And it's because they bring in guys like Drew Holiday, and they have guys like Al Horford, guys with experience that make winning plays. And Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are learning how to maybe win when they're not having their best night. And they have other winning players like Derek White. So I do agree that this isn't a Boston team that's inexperienced, like, maybe some people make it out to be because they're still a little young. They're a team that is learning how to win. I wouldn't say that they know how to win yet, but their two superstars are at least learning how to win, and they have the veterans to supplement it. So I think this will be a close series, but got to give it to the guys that perform in the clutch, man. So we're all rolling with Dallas except for Alex, who will go with Boston. And I don't think you said how many games. How many games did you say?
6.
6 on the Mavericks' home floor. Why
Yeah.
did we? You guys want to be more original? I mean, we could have picked a different note.
Well, 7, I think it's too dicey. I think you're kind of right. If it goes to 7, I think the Luka and Kyrie element probably.
That's true.
I think it goes to 6. I think they close it out in Dallas.
I would like
At least
to see
a prediction. I think that's
I'm not. Hey, my prediction is 6, but I'd like to see a game 7 in Boston. That would be really fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta.
I mean, the one thing I would say is that if Boston wins a series, I think it's in 5 games or less.
So 4 or 5 games?
I don't know.
Wow.
I think that if
I think less than 6. I don't think they win in 7. I think it's just too. It seems too 50-50 to be on a 7. I wouldn't predict that, but I don't think they win it. I mean, you really think they win it in 5 or 4 games? Like, what would have to happen for them to win it?
No, because I would say that the longer
Luka
the
tear
series,
his ACL or something. I mean, that's like the only thing.
no. I would say the longer the series goes,
That's
the
a
more
good
it
point.
favors the Mavericks. But
Okay.
I think if Boston wins the series, that means they showed up. Because I think the way they lose is if they just don't show up. That's just how they're going to lose. So if Boston wins the series, I think that it's done in 5 or less. Because I think that means that they really just showed up. They locked in. Tatum and Brown are going. Derek White's doing his thing. Drew Holiday is doing his thing. Porzingus is doing his thing. And I think they just make this quick. Because
I actually think that's a good point.
because their talent, I think, is way better, like altogether, than Dallas. But I think what it doesn't account for is the singularity of 2 players, which is Kyrie and Luka. That's what it doesn't account for. But I think that Boston could easily, if they just played to their potential, I think it could be over in 5 or less.
All right. Well, bold prediction there from Aaron. And with that, I think we're going to wrap it up because that was a very long episode. It was the finals, though. We had to make it long, right? It was the finals. But we thank you for watching. If you made it to the end of the video, you're a real one. But
Comment Casey Coonan. Comment Casey Coonan if you made it to the end of the video.
yeah, comment Casey. If you
What's Casey's final prediction?
Hey, Casey. Oh, wait, hold on.
How are you feeling about Casey as a guest so far on the Before the Buzzer podcast? Comment below. We've had him a couple times. Comment Millie as well if you've been.
Yeah. Who do you like more,
By the
Aaron
way,
or Casey?
hey, clap it up, Millie. One of the best guests on the show so far.
Yeah, that's
Top
right.
2 for sure, bro. Top 2 for sure.
Supreme ball knowledge knower.
Casey said Boston in 7. No chance.
That's
Boston
my
wins
guy.
this.
That's my guy.
No
bro.
chance Boston wins it. This is going
Bro,
to 7.
Casey been wrong all playoffs, bro.
Casey predicted the Timberwolves were going to beat the Nuggets, so give him credit for that.
He also had them beating the Mavs in 5.
Why are you so sweaty? God damn.
Sweaty? What?
Why are you so sweaty?
What?
Bro, why are you sweating so much? Look at your shirt.
What?
Look at your shirt.
What are you talking about?
Nah, bro.
What?
Lift up your arm.
All right,
bro.
hey.
Bro, why are you sweating? Why are you sweating?
Wait,
All
why
right,
is
with
it
that,
so
with that,
bad?
we'll get off the Before the Buzzer podcast. I think it's the shadow. I think it's the shadows, bro.
No.
No, it's that
No.
shadow, bro. That's
What are you
shadow.
talking
Why are
about,
you
bro?
sweating, bro?
What?
I mean,
All
I'm
right,
not gonna embarrass
anyways.
you anymore, but I'm just saying, like, why are you sweating
I don't know where this
so much?
came from, bro. There's no. What are you talking about? All right,
Bro, lift up your
off-
arms.
we're getting off
and
the
we'll see
podcast
what
here.
I'm gonna show
I'm
you.
gonna reveal. I'm gonna
podcast.
reveal. Let's see.
This is
Like, you guys saw that, right?
I
We
saw
saw it.
when you
I don't know what you're talking about, bro. All right, we getting off. Follow us on all platforms: Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Oh, more stuff on TikTok. Alex said coming out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
I finished it for a
TikTok's
project,
coming
bro.
through.
Yeah, for my social guys, I gotta start making TikToks. So yeah, they will be up.
Spotify. Make sure you follow on all platforms.
The
Like,
TikTok does-
subscribe.
correlate
Oh,
with Pride
you guys are on
Month, too.
Spotify?
Yeah, bro.
That's the podcast. We're the
That's-
podcast
I
on
post that shit.
Spotify.
That's the one I'm in charge of.
Damn.
Yeah. Hey, tune in next week. Aaron will not be back, but someone else might be on. So
Like the video if you
tune
want
in
him
next
back.
week. Yeah, like the video if you want him back.
Comment who you want to guest. Comment your guest.
If we pass 5 likes, we'll have him back.
Yeah. All right, but thank you for watching today's episode. We hope you enjoyed. That was episode 17. Y'all have a good night. Enjoy the finals.
God bless.